That's how it works. An eye for an eye. It's called vendetta.
That.
Hello FPL managers, yes, we're back again with another video for the Fantasy Premier League 2021-22 season. It's a watch list video. It's something we've not done in quite some time. We're just gonna take a look at some players who we're considering for the next game week, which is game week 29, and possibly beyond that. These are just a few players that I've got in mind that I've been keeping an eye on and who may be coming into our teams for the consequent game weeks. Okay, for starters, we're going to be taking a look at probably replacements for Gerald Bowen. He's gotten injured. He's one of the players who we thought, or rather who we knew was gonna feature for game week 30, and with this injury there's now a question mark on if he's gonna be available for that fixture. He's currently flagged, and I'm hoping that we don't need to sell him, because that would be kind of wasting a transfer, and that would ensure that we have even less players available for game week 30. But as for replacements, we could be looking at someone like an Arsenal midfielder, and of course Bukayo Saka comes to mind. He's been doing quite well, so he scored a goal and created another in the 3-2 win away to Watford. So he's a player who would definitely be eyed by a lot of FPL managers, and as a caveat, he's got a double in game week 29 at home to Leicester and at home to Liverpool. So he's someone that you would want to keep an eye on. He's got a game in game week 30 against Aston Villa, and still has games to be rescheduled against Chelsea and Spurs between now and game week 38. So there's still some doubles in store for Bukayo Saka, and if you don't want Bukayo Saka, or for some reason cannot afford him, he's currently 6.5 million. But if that's still too much for you to get to, you can think about someone like Gabrielle Matanelli. There's a lot of talk about if Martinelli is nailed on in that Arsenal attack, considering Emil Smith-Rowe is doing quite well whenever he's introduced back into the team. But for now, Martinelli isn't showing any signs that he's going to be losing his place anytime soon. He's just scored a goal against Watford, so he's the one that you might want to consider ahead of Emil Smith-Rowe. Another player that you might want to consider is Martin Odegaard. He's not as productive an FPL asset as Saka or Emil Smith-Rowe, but he's nailed on in that Arsenal midfield, and he seems to be like the talisman of the team in a way, because everything flows through him. So he can get into really good spaces. He's just not the type of player to take his chances. He's more of a creator in that team. So someone who I would want to bring in, who I can afford, is definitely Bukayo Saka, and I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on him for game week 29 and 30 definitely. Okay, now moving away from Arsenal, looking at this Tottenham Hotspur, who have a double in game week 29 as well. We're talking about players who we can afford, who we can replace Gerald Bowen with in that midfield, and Dejan Kulusevsky is someone who has really caught our eye. He's been doing quite well since he came in. In the last 6 games he's played, or he didn't start game week 24, but since then he's gotten at least more than 60 minutes. So he's had a double figure haul twice in 6 games. He had 8 points against Leeds, so he's someone who's been productive since he's come in. I don't think Lucas Moura is going to be getting into that team anytime soon. Kulusevsky is a very cheap FPL asset. He's gone up to 6.1 million, and I don't think he's going to be coming down anytime soon because of how cheap of an asset he is. Cheaper than Saka even. So 6.1 is something a lot of FPL managers can get to. Even managers who already have Harry Kane, who already have Son, they could be looking at Kulusevsky to bolster that attack. Spurs aren't too steady in defense. They concede a lot, even though in the past couple of games they've kept clean sheets. But I think I trust their attack more than their defense. So Kulusevsky is one to keep an eye on. He's got a double in game week 29 and has a home fixture against West Ham in game week 30. So after that, he's got Newcastle, Aston Villa, Brighton, Brentford, and still has a game to reschedule. So he's an asset that, believe me, is going to be going up in price very soon. Okay, so another player who we would want to think of from the Tottenham Hotspur is Matt Doherty, because Doherty has not been featuring a lot this season, but in the past couple of games, Conte has found a way to integrate Doherty into the Spurs team, and he's coming with 18 points and 14 points respectively in both games. And Doherty really thrives in that wing back position, with Conte switching to 3-5-2 attack, or rather a 3-4-2-1 formation. You'd expect that someone like Doherty, who doesn't have so much of a defensive responsibility, would thrive just as he did while he was at Wolves in the same right wing back position. So he was one of those defenders, you recall, who we considered as someone who can replace Dallas of Leeds at the beginning of the season, someone who can come in and really cheap player who can bring in a lot of attacking returns. So Matt Doherty seems to be coming back to life, and with the fixtures looking quite favorable for Spurs, you might want to consider bringing him in. He's £4.7 million at the moment. That's not expensive at all. Someone like Ben White, who we've been looking at as a very, very cheap way into that Arsenal defense, you can see Matt Doherty almost rivals that, and he's a lot more attacking of a player than Ben White. So he's someone that I've been looking at, and I can actually afford him in my team right now as an option to Ben White. So I'm looking at both of them and thinking between now and say game week 36, which asset would be best to have in my team. I'm gonna keep an eye out and see if he's actually nailed as a Spurs asset, and then I'll really consider getting him into the team. Okay, so aside from defense and midfield, our attack, Harry Kane is looking like a very, very good FPL asset once again. He was very much off form at the beginning of the season, but he's looking quite good, but he's really expensive of a player. So another player you might want to look at is someone like Alexander Lacazette. Created 2 assists last game against Watford, and he has a double in game week 29, as well as featuring in game week 30 and having a couple of games more to reschedule. So he's someone you can think about, currently at 8.3 million if I'm not mistaken. So he's someone that you can keep an eye on. Wang is another player for Wolves who right now Jimenez doesn't seem to have his place nailed. Okay, I brought him in for game week 28 because of the double, and he's been benched for the very first game, and I'm not 100% sure he's going to feature for the second. Wang has come back in and he's been starting games, scored against Arsenal, and started the last game. So he's someone that I may want to consider bringing in, because for starters, he would help me with getting a lot of funds that I might need to use to upgrade other parts of my team. Currently he's 5.4 million, and that's really cheap. That's cheaper than Morpay, that's cheaper than Ivan Toney, that's cheaper than Edward, you know. So that's a player who, if he's nailed with Wolves' really good fixtures, in game week 29 they've got Everton, 30 they've got Leeds, 31 they've got Aston Villa at home, 32 they've got Newcastle away. So these are very good fixtures, and you'd expect Wolves at least to do quite well in these games because they're chasing that top 4 position. So Hwang is someone that may be coming into our team, you know, as a replacement for any of our players who don't feature in game week 30 especially. So yeah, so that's those are the players that I'm currently considering and to bring into my team. I don't know about you guys, but these are the players who have really caught my eye. I hear a lot of talk about Ryan Fraser for Newcastle. They're very much informed, but I would prefer to get in someone like Alan Saint-Maximin if he's fit, because you know he's the more explosive asset, and if Newcastle, the rest of the team, are doing well, then Alan Saint-Maximin is probably gonna be benefiting a lot more from that. Okay, so yeah, Fraser is a good shout. Maximin is another good shout. I don't think there are any other players that I would be considering. Ramsey is someone that I would have been looking at if I didn't already have Coutinho, and Coutinho really showed his class in the last game. So yeah, these are the players that I'm really taking a look at, and I'm really considering getting into my team. I hope that has helped you guys out in some way. And as for my game week 28, not looking really good. It's one of those really terrible game weeks. Really big green red arrow, I wish, really big red arrow waiting for me at the end of game week 28. But I'm hoping that with the plan set out from game week 29 and onwards, I can claw my way back into that top 20k and see how I end up for the rest of the season. Okay, so that's it for the video. Hope this helps you guys out. So I'm just gonna say cheers, good luck for the rest of game week 28, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.